Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Poppin' Off. I am your host, Pd PopOff. How's everybody doing out there? Doing good? Doing great? Doing grand? Awesome. Superb. So yeah, today what I'm going to be popping off about, how do I phrase this without sounding like an arrogant, pretentious prick? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, hear me out. I'm self-aware. Well, for the most part, I'm aware of how this is going to come off, but I'm going to say it anyways, right? Like, I'm aware of how this is going to sound, but I'm going to say it anyways because, like, the realm that I live in is rigorous honesty, brutal truth. Even if I don't want to hear it, I might not want to hear it, but I probably need to, right? That's kind of how I live the life, right? You might not want to hear it, but you probably needed to. And you know, not everybody has the wherewithal to tell you what you need to hear because they might be afraid of how they're going to be perceived. They want to be liked. I am so far past that, I don't give a fuck. And that's just being real with you. So with that being said, is I can't be brutally honest with other people if I can't be brutally honest with myself. So with that being said, I know how this is going to sound. This is going to sound very arrogant, very pretentious, but I'm just keeping it real, man. You know, as some of you may or may not know, I'm in recovery. I'm not going to tell you what fellowship I'm in, just due to traditions, but I'm in recovery. I'm in a 12-step based program of recovery. And, you know, I had I wouldn't say an argument because I really don't argue with people like that. But I guess I had a disagreement of thought and philosophy. And the person made mention to me that I'm coming off as though I'm on a moral high horse. And I told them, I said, well, you know, I don't really think I'm coming off as that. Maybe that's the way you interpret it. Maybe I'm touching nerves. I'm just speaking for me. I'm not telling anybody else how to live their life or run their program. I'm just speaking for me. And if that rubs you the wrong way, maybe that's something that you need to look inward, like into yourself. Maybe that's something you need to look into. And they did not like that response, but that's the truth. That's the honest response. I wasn't saying anything with any preconceived notions or trolling anybody or rage baiting anybody. I was literally speaking about just me. And then, you know, I got thinking about it, right? I got ruminating on it. You know, do I come off as morally superior? Do I come off as a know-it-all? Yeah, I probably do. And that's okay. That's not, you know, that's not my problem necessarily, right? Like, I don't offer advice. I don't go in there getting into people's business. You know, when people share in the rooms, I don't go in and offer advice and opinions and how to fix. No. If you don't ask me, I ain't telling because it ain't my business. But when I'm asked to speak in front of a crowd and share my story, well, that's what that's what I do, and I keep it on me. And you know, I don't necessarily feel morally superior to anybody, right? Like, it's real simple, right? I try to live a virtuous life. I walk with integrity. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean when I'm being serious. And that's a very big exception, is when I'm being serious. Because I'm a fucking goofball. I talk hella shit, and I'm rarely ever serious until it's time to be serious. And then when I do, I try my best to mean what I say and say what I mean. But when I'm doing a podcast, when I'm shooting the shit with my boys, when I'm playing video games, you know, I'd say 90% of my day, I'm just talking shit, dude. Just talking reckless. Like, like it's not that serious, you know? And then I got thinking, well, I do my best. I try to be brutally and rigorously honest in all my affairs. Um, I try to be considerate of other people when I'm out in public. When I'm on my podcast or my entertainment channels, you go fuck yourself. That's where I let loose and I dial it up, and that's when I really get into character. And you know, I just got thinking about it, and I'm like, well, damn, I'm not gonna let this person manipulate or gaslight me like I'm being morally superior. I'm not. I'm just doing what I do. And if the way that I'm presenting myself makes them feel a certain way, that's not on me, man. That's on you. That's 100% on you. And then I got thinking about it even deeper, and I know, like I said in the beginning, I know how this is going to make me sound. This is going to make me sound super arrogant, super pretentious, and morally superior. But, you know, I got to break it down, right? Like, I overanalyze things. And the rooms of recovery are the dregs of society, right? Like, you got a very eclectic group of people. You've got PDF files that are in those rooms. You've got legitimate killers, grapists. You got all kinds of people in these rooms, man. And they're in these rooms because there's nowhere else for these people to go, right? They get out of jail, they get out of prison. They come to these rooms because these rooms were taught patience, love, and tolerance. It's not my place to judge you. All I can do is have patience with you and love on you and tolerate you. And, you know, there's levels to this shit, man. And I'll call it for what it's worth, you know. It's a social group based in recovery. And my experience, it's really not a whole lot different than high school or college or a fraternity or anything. There's people that I don't want to associate with. There's people who move in a way that I don't move with, like that I don't. There's people that act and behave in a manner that I don't want near me. You know, and then this person said, well, you know, you act morally superior. You know, you don't even try to make friends. No, I don't. I'm not, look, I'm fucking old, man. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to stay clean and sober. Full stop. That's part of my primary purpose, is to stay clean and sober. And the next part of it is, if you want to learn how to stay clean and sober, and I have, and the way that I present myself is something that you're looking for, and you ask me to help you, then that's part of my other primary purpose. That's part of my responsibility, is to help you. Nowhere does it say anywhere that I need to be your best friend, your asshole buddy, your therapist, your employer, your grocery store. Like, no. Some people are just more generous, right? I'm not generous like that. I'm not a humanitarian like that. Like, I'm just not. I don't want to be your friend. You know, if we form a friendship organically, then cool, absolutely. But like I said, my main responsibility, first and foremost, is that I stay clean and sober. My next responsibility is that if I present or project a way of living and an attitude and a demeanor that is appealing to you, and you want to learn how to obtain it, you come, you holler at me, and it is my responsibility to say, absolutely, I got you. Full stop. And then I teach you the way I was taught. Full stop. And, like I said, I know this sounds arrogant. I know this sounds pretentious. I know this sounds mean and this sounds cruel. But I've been in these rooms. I've been in these programs of recovery for going on 12 years. I've seen all kinds of people that walk that are in these rooms, man. All kinds of walks of life. I've seen some of these people are the most vulnerable people of society. They're the sickest people of society, and they want help desperately. And then you have other people in these rooms that are just straight up predators. And they prey on these people, and they exploit them, and they take advantage of them. And I've also seen the opposite, that these people are the most sickest of society, but they're not vulnerable. They are the predators. Like, and I'm not saying that everybody in these rooms and these programs of recovery are like this, because they're not. I'm not. And the fact of the matter is like, like, a lot of these people just have undesirable traits that I don't want to be affiliated with. Does that make me think that I'm better than them? Yes. Yes. I'm sorry to say it. I know it's not a very humble or it's not a thing you would say based in humility. I understand that. And understand this. There was a point when I came into the rooms, these programs of recovery, where I was just as bad. I understand that. 12 years ago, I came in as a full-blown opiate, marijuana, alcohol addict, alcoholic, whatever you want to call it. Manipulating people to get my way. If I saw that you had even a shred of enabling or coddling, I would use that to my advantage to get my way. I had no sense of accountability, no sense of responsibility, no sense of any of it. Right? I was a thief, a liar, a cheat, manipulator, bully, all of it. All of it. So I'm not saying that I don't have those experiences. I do, but as who I am right now, that's not me. It's who I was. So when I say that I am better than that, yes, I am. That's not who I am anymore. I have grown. I am different. That's not who the fuck Pd PopOff is. Am I still an asshole? Yeah. Am I still loud and obnoxious? Yeah, sure am. And I have a different outlook on these rooms. And I refuse to let anybody in these rooms gaslight me or shame me or convince me otherwise. I know how to use discernment. I can tell who really 9 times out of 10, I can usually tell who really wants to get clean and sober and who wants to do better. Most of the times, people are coming into these rooms so they don't go to jail, so they don't lose their house, so their wife doesn't divorce them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't got time for that shit. I just don't. And not for nothing, I don't want to be your fucking friend either. I got a very full life. I got friends. Right? Like, I've always been kind of a loner. I've always kept a very, very, very small circle. And that's going back to childhood. I've always kept a small circle. So it's not that I don't want to fellowship and hang out and this, that, and the third. Yeah, no, I do. I'll go bowling with you guys. Sure. I'll play poker with you guys. I'll go shoot darts, play pool, go to the movies and shit. But yeah, I don't want, I'm not trying to hang out with you. Outside of that, right? Like, there was a point in my recovery where I had successfully integrated my family with my program of recovery family. And I guard that very closely now. And I'll give you a very brief story. There was a young man I was sponsoring. And, he knew my wife, my kids, and he went off the rails. He relapsed, he went off the rails, and he tried to cause a lot of harm to my wife and my kids because he didn't like the things that I had to tell him. He tried to cause some physical harm. And then he started stalking, and he tried to get my mom and my dad. And so these experiences, although may not be the norm, it may be the anomaly, it has made me the way I am. You know, it is what it is. This is the way that I do things. This is my outlook on things. My experiences are different. And you know what? I still go to the rooms. I still go to the programs because I know it's the anomaly. It's just now I gotta safeguard things. I gotta change the way I play the game. You know what I mean? So yeah, like dude, we've gotten to this point in our recovery, and I'm not trying to be egotistical or cocky or arrogant, and I know it comes off like that. It comes off like that because I know who I am. I know what I'm not. I know my limitations. I know what limitations I can surpass. I know what I have in me. I know who I am, and I am confident about that. And when you're dealing with people who are not necessarily at the same spot that you are, it can come off as cocky and arrogant. It can. Especially when you're dealing with people who are older than you, who might have been in this program or in these programs of recovery longer. You know, I, I got a pretty good idea of who I am. 13 years in 13 years of therapy, 12 years in the room, a whole lot of going down rabbit holes, a whole lot of reading, a whole lot of self reflection. That shit'll do it to you. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm definitely not. And I'm not saying that I know more than the next person because I don't. But I do know more about me than you do. I know more about my program of recovery than you do. I don't know more about the program of these rooms of these 12-step programs than you do. I just know my perspective. And like I said, I know it comes off shitty when I say that I think I'm better. Hey, it is what it is. I was also told when I first came into these rooms, don't judge people. And then in the very next sentence, I was told, stick with the winners. That's what I do, man. I stick with the winners. If you're my kind of person, as far as temperament, behavior, manners, sense of humor, then I fuck with you. I rock with you. And we can even hang out outside of the rooms. If you're not, oh well. There's certain traits that I really don't like. I don't like people that gossip. Too fucking old for that shit. I don't like people. I don't like hanging with people who need to have constant validation. I don't like hanging with people who can't sit alone with themselves, who need to constantly have people over and have barbecues and picnics and all this and that. And like, that's cool. Like, if that works for you, that's cool. But the way I operate is it's like, I'd rather chill, man. Like, I don't, like, you're not my kind of person. So I don't want to come over to your fucking barbecue, man. Sorry. And, don't get mad at me and then say, oh, I'm being antisocial. No, that's not true because I hang out with other people. It's just you're not my cup of tea, dude. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know this probably painted me in a bad light, and that's okay. I don't really give a fuck. Like I said, all I can do is really be honest, and I don't know if anybody else has experienced this. I mean, I do try to be humble. I try to put myself in other people's shoes. Like I said, When I say I'm better than you, I'm talking about now. You know, these people that come in and are fucked up in the game, I was where they were at. But there were certain boundaries I never crossed as a man. Like, if I know you're married and I'm married, I'm not hitting on you. I'm not preying on the weak. That shit disgusts me. You know, when I came into the rooms, I wasn't court ordered, I wasn't mandated. I came in voluntarily. I came in voluntarily because it had been suggested to me for years. And I always said, nah, fuck that. I know better. Until one day I didn't know better. And I was like, I'm praying to a God that I didn't even fucking really believe in. Just, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Take the wheel. I'll follow. And then it was just one thing after another. I ended up in the rooms of recovery. Here I am almost 12 years later. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. Have I slipped up? Absolutely. But I've learned. I'm still alive and I'm still learning, you know? Uh, One thing I can say is just when I think I have it figured out, something crops up and I'm like, all right, I don't got it figured out. But for right now, you know, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know my temperament. I know what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm willing to not tolerate and then disengage. Right? There's a lot of things said in these programs that don't come from the literature. They come from the philosophies and opinions of the sickest dregs of society. So if you're in recovery, I encourage you, go to the rooms. They do help, but use some discernment. And I know in early recovery, it's hard to even have even a shred of discernment that you can trust. And I'll tell you, like it was told to me, stick with the winners. And if you're like me, you probably are going to ask, well, how do I know who the winners are? Well, that's when you got to start. The fuck you speeding for? That's when you got to start narrowing it down. Who's got long-term sobriety? Who talks like they have a good game? Who talks like they know what they're talking about? Who's friendly to people? Then vet them a little bit more. See how they act. Do they have characteristics about them that you don't like? Do they have characteristics about them that you do like? Well, then you got to take a leap of faith and you got to put some trust in them and you got to hang out with them and you got to see how they conduct themselves outside of the rooms of recovery. You know, follow them on fucking social medias, see how they are on social medias, right? You got to use some discernment. You got to do some vetting, write down the pros and cons. That's what I did. And it worked out splendidly. Worked out absolutely great. I was with my sponsor until we moved. And I still talk that sumbitch every goddamn day. And he told me very straightforward, hey, listen, man, we're not friends. We are not friends. I'm your sponsor. I'm not your therapist. I'm not blah, blah, blah. Everything I said, I'm not any of that. And here we are 11 years later, and we're friends. It happened organically. So hopefully this doesn't scare you out of the rooms. Hopefully it sets an expectation that you can recover. You absolutely can. Stick with the winners. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Pd PopOff. I'm out here doing the damn deal. If you would follow me on all social medias, I'm on the Mark Zuckerberg the Facebooks. I'm on the TikToks. I'm on Instagram. And definitely make sure you like and subscribe here on YouTube podcasts and my content channel on YouTube. I got shorts, I got long form videos. Hey, I will be your favorite fucking content creator. I promise you, if I'm not already. Other than that, you might not have liked what you heard, but you probably needed to hear it. Take care. Have a good one.